will see a lot of stuff. Skanda Purana is a very powerful Purana. It is also mentioned in Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita. It's just that people have to learn and get the deep meaning. It's not just written as that, you go and do this. It's everything is being coded there, and people have to decode that, right? The key question is, what is the meaning of word Vastu? So Vastu is actually a word. This is like, we're trying to break it in Hindi. That's a Hindi word, not an English word. So the meaning of Vastu is Vas and Tu, right? Tu means you, technically. So Vas means, in Hindi, Vas means where do you live, right? Vas, what is your Vas meaning to, where do you live? And Tu is this meaning, a dwelling place or so the place where you live is basically a Vastu. That's the meaning of this word. Why Vastu? We didn't discuss that. So let's just discuss that, why Vastu. The reason Vastu plays an important role is because wherever you live is where that energy is there, and you live there because, or in fact, let's say that the environment actually impacts your subconscious mind. And that's the key thing. Whatever your thought process is, whatever your thinking process is actually impacted by the environment you live in. So if you live in, so for example, you spend 16 hours at home, that's where you're spending most of the time. And then if you go 8 hours at work, that's the other place. Or you're going into the school or university, that's the other place. So wherever that environment you're living in, that energy in that environment is going to impact your subconscious mind, which means your thought process will get impacted. How you think. So for example, if you have 5 elements, which we'll discuss, if you have got more fire, then you will get more angry in that environment, or you will have more fire related attributes. If you live in an environment which is more, which has got more water element, you will get more emotional, for example. So your subconscious mind gets impacted easily by the environment, and whatever thought process then comes in will drive your actions. So if your subconscious mind is actually not balanced in a way, or your energy is not balanced in the environment, then your subconscious mind is actually thinking or according to that element, and then your thought process will actually lead you to those actions, which could be right or wrong depending upon how that is. So that's why it is important to actually balance the energy of the Vastu, so that your subconscious mind is in harmony with the nature. That is the key thing. That's the only reason why we do Vastu, is to align your subconscious mind, so that your thought process gets aligned with the nature. And then once your thought process is aligned, then everything falls into place, meaning that then your actions are aligned with the nature. If the energy in your environment is not aligned, then you will take actions which is opposite to the nature, and obviously you will suffer from that. That's a key reason. That's it. It operates at 3 places: physical, mental, and spiritual. Right. So physically means, if the subconscious mind is not aligned, again, this all comes back to the thought process. If your thought process is not aligned, then you will take wrong actions. That can be due to your physical health, that can also do with your mental health, and that can also do with your spiritual progress. So if your Vastu is not aligned in your house, and then you will struggle in also, people who want to progress on spiritual level, they will also struggle with that. The concept of 7 chakras I've not added here, but those 7 chakras which is in our body, they are also aligned with the Vastu. So if the Vastu is not aligned in your house, then your physical at physical level, your chakras are impacted, which means you will actually have issues from each chakra. So one of the chakras get blocked, and we will have issues to do with health, or something will come up. So that's why it is important that, because it is impacting you at physical, mental, and spiritual level, that you actually manage your environment, and so that your subconscious mind is actually in harmony with the environment. 3 types of Vastu. That's fixed, structure, movable. Fixed structure is where you live most of the time, right? That's where we are going to discuss most of it. You can also apply the same concept to the movable, but that's a short-term. Movable is like, you take a van, or you can go to a trade event where you put a stall, and if you're going there, okay, then you can decide, okay, where should I put my stall? In what direction should I put my cash counter? In what direction should I stand to talk to my customers or prospective customers. So you can apply the same fixed concepts back to the movable one and back to the daily. Daily is more like, okay, if you go into the office, in what direction should I sit in the meeting? So I've put a slide which Himanshu actually mentioned to me about how to do the winning in, how do you win a negotiation uh, in every day. In fact, I have started using it for last 2 to 6 months, that concept. But Himanshu, for Anshul and Lakveer, we'll discuss that if you go and meet somebody, which direction you should sit to that person, so that you can convince that person if you're actually trying to convince, and if you're going to take a new business or win a new business. For example, Anshul, if you're going into a sales meeting and you want to win a business, in which direction you should sit from the sponsor or the stakeholder, so that you can win. Whereas when you go and give a consulting advice, what direction you should sit from that stakeholder, so that you can convince him, right? So we'll discuss that. That's a very simple concept, but if you apply that, it actually helps you in day-to-day life as well. So that's a daily concept which we'll cover.
Okay. Are you referring to the PowerPoint technique?
The PowerPoint technique is a little bit different, but we will cover that.
Yeah, when I had a conversation last time with you, I did go through that video, and whatever you said was actually making sense. You said probably we need to, like when you told about the parent and the child thing, the element, the other one. So that was falling in place.
Good. Okay, so we'll go through that. Okay, and as I said, there are only two structures known to us which were Vastu compliant. One was the city of Lanka, and the other was city of Indra. And it's not funny that Lanka was destroyed by Lord Rama and Hanuman, and city of Indra, I don't know how that is destroyed or it is still there, but both were destroyed with the passage of time, right? So the point here is that we don't live more than 90 years or 100 years nowadays, right? So try to do the maximum whatever you can do. Any place you will find or you will buy here or you will build here, if you buy, that is not made according to Vastu. So the only thing is you will have to balance that, right? And in the olden days, people used to say, well, I've got a toilet here, can I break this or demolish this and do that? That's not how traditionally the Vastu was. Idea was to balance it, right? There are only one or two zones where if you have a structure which is not advisable, that cannot be controlled, but the rest of the other directions, anything you have, you can manage it. So there are solutions for that. So idea is, whatever house you buy, no house will be 100% compliant, or no structure will be 100% compliant. You have to just work around and balance the energy. It's only one zone specifically which is hard to manage if you have got any specific things there. Otherwise, the rest of the thing is you can manage it. So don't feel that I've got a house and it is not Vastu compliant, right? No.
Interesting concept actually, 3 and 7.
Yeah. So this is the 5 elements.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you mentioned air corresponds to tin element, right?
Sorry, air corresponds to
tin element. Tin is
yes,
tin, metal tin.
Yes.
As per Feng Shui, and a lot of Vastu people also use wood also for air.
Yeah, because air is actually nothing.
Can we use that in Vastu as well? What do you reckon?
Huh?
Can we? What are your thoughts on using wood also in the air? What are your thoughts?
You can
do
actually
we consider that relevant in Vastu?
Yeah, so let me say, Feng Shui is nothing but is a concept derived from Vastu. It's just that the concept which is in Feng Shui is more aggressive, right? So we'll discuss why Feng Shui is more aggressive in later on, Himanshu. But the reason you say wood, right? Air is actually nothing is generated by plant, and when a plant dries, it actually is like if it is a tree, the wood actually comes from trees. So that's why the wood actually comes here in air element.
Now, the reason why I was asking is, fine, Feng Shui we can keep it aside. I'm not much interested. The objective of asking my question is, if we are treating or if we are considering what are the elements. Now, furniture is basically wood, right?
Correct.
So if I have to calculate or if I have to find out imbalances, should I give importance to wood? For example, now, if for example, if we use that concept, like 10 is, sorry, if we consider that wood corresponds to air.
Yeah,
Now, that if I have heavy furniture kept in fire zone or earth zone or anti-element, will that have an impact? That was
yeah,
my
it will.
question.
It will.
From that perspective, I asked.
Yeah, it will.
So is it recommended that I cannot have furniture in other areas, or how does it, or that will
Uh,
come, that's
the,
a
the
advanced.
the way you deal with that. I mean, it's not that, if you have, it's not possible that you can control everything. The way you deal with
Yeah.
that is you try to balance that energy by using the color combination, right? So if you have wood, then say, okay, wood is there, the energy is increasing more. Then what things you should do to balance that? So, for example, you have got wood, and you have to reduce, then you use another anti-element to balance that. So yes, there will be an impact, but you just balance it out, right? You
You
can also use
control the
color
release part,
combinations
yeah.
to color combination and the shapes of the objects to balance that.
Yep. Good.
Okay. Any questions from Lakveer and Anshul?
No, all good. I'm so remember the slide before that where you were mapping the different, yeah, this one, the tint, the air, yeah, this one. I don't know how we put it in the real case, or probably when you do any particular case study, how you do these mapping, saying that, for example, you talked about if somebody's son is weak, that means he would not have the good eyesight.
Correct.
So I'm looking for these kind of more like how to read and how to map them.
Yeah. So that will. Once we do the case studies, you will get that. But uh, not suggest, well, not recommendation, but I'm saying you will learn more when you practice more. It will come by practice, but we'll give you the framework to apply that, right? So that will come later on, but you'll get the framework how to apply that. There is a bit of an astrology knowledge as well, but I'm saying you don't need that. But there are some discrepancies, or there are some different ways how Vastu treats one thing. So, for example, in hair, the skin is coming as an air element, right? Whereas
Mhm.
in astrology, and we know the air, water element is Mercury, right? In fact, I should put the um, put the planet. So in astrology, we use, if you have a skin disease, we use Mercury. But here it is coming as air. Air is east. East is sun. So Vastu is saying you have to make sure that your east is balanced. If your east is not balanced or imbalanced, then you will definitely have skin issue. So that's where the changes are there, but it is okay. We can tackle with either of them. I prefer more from Vastu, because the results from Vastu is more immediate, whereas in astrology it is very hard to get the results.
Okay, cool. Maybe with time I'll learn.
No, you will get it there. I know Himanshu is way ahead of you guys because he has got a lot of Vastu and astrology knowledge.